go.
Go for it.
right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this wonderful Thursday for some more Song of Rapture right here on Lionhead Gaming. Some more wonderful D&D 5th edition, as DM'd by the one and only Monsieur Omen. We're all here. We're all ready to go ahead and get started. So without further ado, I pass it over to you.
Sure. So when we last left our valiant vanguard, they had just come to the conclusion of a heated and somewhat turbulent battle across this great landscape of quicksand in the center of this land known as the White Sea. But what exactly drove them out to the middle of this dangerous area? What really they occurred during this turbulent battle, and what exactly transpired from it? Maybe some new developments within the party. Not really my story to tell, so could someone tell us what happened on that last episode of the Song of Rapture?
Yeah, so this is going to be a lot shorter and less dessert filled than last week. No, not tons of ice cream and chocolate syrup. So we caught up to the Yanti kidnappers who absconded out of Roca, stealing both people and some large sand skimmers from the wonderful brothel and gambling den, the Silky River. We caught up to them and proceeded to engage them, trying to get them to surrender and pull over. They were not interested in that, so we broke into combat to stop them by force. Lots of crazy moments happened, but in the interest of getting back to the story quickly, Corin requested the Yanti yield, and when they didn't, threw them repeatedly off the boat. Samantha and Tamar kicked them off the boat. Correction. Oh yeah, he is small. He's a small boy. Yeah, really strong legs. Low center of gravity. Samantha and Tamar yelled a bunch, to no effect. And Persephone flew around and did crazy fairy things with all of her wonderful magic.
I saved many a people, thank you very much.
Sailed our boat for a bit before leaving it to Swift Hollow while he teleported to cut down foes, and Swift Hollow got to shoot the mega extra large crossbow 3000 while also keeping the boat straight. All in all, in spite of all of the Yanti's efforts to stop them and the formidable purple worm that was pursuing all of us as a hungry third party, the valiant vanguard eventually subdued the monstrous Yanti and convinced the purebloods to yield and surrender. Tamar, in his immense speed, led the purple worm away from the boats, and the rest of the vanguard safely secured the prisoners, repaired their initial vessel, and began safely sailing their sand skimmer formation back to Roca. I don't think there's much else to it than that. Join us now as we write the next verse in the Song of Rapture.
Very well done. Give yourself some DM inspiration.
I already have it.
Oh, they have to roll a D100 there. Roll that big old number.
Get that one again. Get her. Not bad.
That's a little more than a one. All right.
38 times what you just rolled last time.
Congratulations. As indeed we find the Valiant Vanguard sailing back to the city of Roca. It seems they're making pretty good time, really more so trying to follow back the trail left behind by their simian ally who led away this purple worm with a loud series of antics and banging across the sand using the vibrations to catch its attention and carry it away. You guys don't know it yet, but it'll take you about an hour or so before you catch up with a slow, sauntering Tamar Khan, and instead you have some time sort of spent skimming across the desert with your now somewhat ramshackled skimmers and your new, I guess, not hostages, but possible compatriots, associates, no longer holding blade against you on your ship as well as you find yourself sailing across the desert. Is there anything, guys, you want to do while you're sailing up to catch up to Tamar Khan before making it back to Roca? You got some people on board. There's a number of individuals you can hear now stirring below decks on these skimmers. Sounds like they're coming too. Is there anything you want to do? Or are you just going to be focusing on sailing back?
I want to check on them, but I'm driving the boat. Did Quildor take the boat from Yaya Gigi? Because I could probably.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Is Yaya Gigi just dead now? Like, because
no.
she's just all wilting away because she needs water and.
No, seems like she's actually doing pretty good. She's completely covered in what seems to be tufts of sand. She doesn't seem to care that the wind's blowing and bashing it against her, but otherwise, she seems like she's handling herself pretty well. She always seems kind of always moist in a really disgusting way.
Yes, moist.
Yeah, I want to somehow bring her over to my boat so she can take over so I can check on the people below deck.
Sure. You'd sort of usher your boat closer to hers without getting smashing into them, and she'd make her way on top.
I had a better idea. I can probably do this. I can probably just fly on over real quick and then pat her on the head and hit and pass her over to my boat.
Yeah, sure. Just close
Sure,
enough.
it's a technically thing.
Just at the edge of the boat, getting a little closer so she can basically be poofed with some magic onto the ship. There. I'm steering this one now. Wonderful. That one stole my wheel, that blessed, disgusting creature.
I know it's not fair, but I still want you to play the game. So follow the leader, follow that boat. As I point to the one Quilder's driving. And
Wonderful.
Venture below deck.
Sure. Yep, making her way down through the doorway and seeing a small set of steps leading to the the underdeck. You'd find sort of sitting on the ground, some of them seeming to nurse some light wounds on their body. Humans, a couple halflings, and some other Yonti among them. Seems as if most of them are kind of coming out of what seems to be a stupor. Almost like they just kind of woke up. It seems as if your battle, especially the twisting and turning and rocking of ships, and of course, this the sound of combat, the thunderous voices calling through the air, seem to kind of bring them back to consciousness, and they're kind of getting their bearings, trying to exactly figure out where they are.
Hi! I'm Persephone. I'm with the Valiant Vanguard. We're on our way back to Roka. Is everyone okay?
Roka? Why are we out of Roka? We were just in the seabed. And then... Wait, we did leave Roka, didn't we? Oh yeah, we did. We did. Oh, my wife's gonna kill me. Why did we leave? And you can see these people sort of muttering amongst themselves. No, we were just talking. We were having a good time. We got smoke in our lungs and drink on our tongues and... I don't know, just... Some of the Yonti said to go with them. They're going to show us something even more exciting, and at the time it sounded like a really good idea. Now it seems foolish. Why would we leave home, especially during the high tide?
Well, in any case, you guys are going to be back soon. And I'm sure your wife would understand the situation.
I hope so. Kidnapped. I was kidnapped. That might be a better story.
Well, that is essentially what happened.
Yes, it is. Oh, my head. And yep, they sort of, they almost like the way they're acting. They seem like they're just waking up, and some of them are kind of getting nauseous and sort of like on the verge of puking. Look, they're kind of like almost seasick in a way, despite there being no real actual sea.
Okay, do I have anything I give them? Any poultices or let me see. Any
Got a
drink?
jar of leeches for you.
I do have a jar of leeches.
You're not Paracelsus.
No, I don't have anything specific for them. I just share some of my water.
Okay. They would greatly appreciate it in the desert.
I'm sure. And I'm gonna just go back up on deck and stand at the front with Sweaty.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to do during this travel time? Might be about an hour or so. Just you guys sailing these ships across this desert as the sun seems to be hanging lower and lower in the sky.
Corn.
Yes.
Did I see you kick those creatures off of that boat?
I did.
Well done.
Well, thanks. You know, I've met a lot of elves in my life. Not all of them were as built as you. Any particular reason why? I mean, Sweatal over there, as I point to Sweatal on the other boat, she's really tall but tiny.
I am from the kingdom of Tyrion. They tend to grow a little bit thicker stalk up in those parts.
Yeah, I think I heard something about some sort of civil war.
Indeed.
Were you a part of that?
For a short time.
Well, only short time. What happened?
Well, I failed the lord that I was in charge of protecting. He was foolish and got himself in over his head. But still, the burden fell upon me to make sure that he was safe. And I was outcast.
Night culture is so weird, honestly. Do you have any plans to go back?
Well, we'll see. I did send an arm there a few weeks ago.
Like, just kind of grab and move your arm like one of your arms? Do you have more arms?
No, Lady Hildora's. She was the knight that cut off the hand of those I was in charge of. An arm for an arm. Well, makes it hard to clap.
That's a very weird saying. You need to tell me more weird sayings.
Of course. Where is it that you hail from?
I've come from Dracula, actually. I was actually telling Samantha that earlier. Sorry, Dusa.
The name is interchangeable. She probably prefers Samantha Deos when there are other people around. So what brought you, little one, from the great cold north to the hot, sandy south?
Well, to you guys. Well, like I said, I got my name stolen. Went to the incantation to tell me what I should do, and they told me about you guys and told me to like look for you because you guys kind of disappeared for a while.
We went into the Feywild.
Yeah, I was told about that. Did you all become Fey? I mean, she did.
Persephone has been her ambition to become more in tune with the wilds of Fey magic. We met a queen, we saved the day, we vanquished a dark-eyed Fey. We broke into a castle. Actually quite a perplexing and interesting story.
I want every single detail, all of them.
I would suspect you asked Persephone of those such details. Are you an orator, or you prefer to write your stories in a book?
No, I just keep it all up here.
Well, I hope that you are able to take in Persephone's stories, as I'm sure you have noticed. When she gets excited, she tends to speak faster than my blade swings.
Oh, I have heard all manners of speech and accents and speed in my life. I'm sure I can handle her.
Many people think they can. Many people have failed.
The death.
Yeah.
So much death.
Persephone is a unique raid boss.
So you've come with us to fight this cult.
Cult-like group, I guess. I don't even know if they worship it.
Oh.
Wait, are we talking about? Are we talking about the words? The sovereign or the Yonti? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'll come with you guys to fight that cult.
Oh, you're after the sovereign as well.
Yeah, I told you guys that.
Well,
Over dinner.
You were probably distracted by my amazing cooking. I know. I understand.
I wouldn't have used such words. It did taste chewy.
Well, I mean, the particular type of meat is mostly chewy. Do you want something different? I mean, I was going to cook that purple worm, but it seemed like we got rid of it.
Well, I have been known to eat almost anything. If you want to gain favor with Samantha, I suggest you learn how to bake sweets. The more sugar, the better.
How much sugar? 'Cause I could add a lot of sugar. Probably an unhealthy amount of sugar. For
Well,
most people. Be fine. I'll be fine.
I would say about your mass would do just fine.
So I kind of pat myself. I'm never mind. You probably don't understand.
Well, we saved the day. We will go and reunite the people of Roka with their lost loved ones. And then we will go and fight more snakes in the desert. And then maybe we'll find your name.
I'm sure it won't be that simple, but I'm here for the long run at least.
We'll see.
Good stuff. Is there anything else you guys want to do before you catch up to the monkey man ever encroaching towards your ship?
Never mind. Just sort of still have the crown of stars sort of wrapped around my serpents as I'm sort of steering this boat and realizing that the worm is gone and all of that building bloodlust sort of leaves besides the channeled magic. I sort of idly sort of look over my shoulder and try to wave the pure bloods up to me.
Sure. Yep. They just literally be standing by the back cabin, like sort of hands at their side, looking around, and every time there's a movement, it seems, on either ship that isn't one of their own kind, their eyes just sort of snap to attention and their movements halt. And seeing you sort of ushering them forward, you'd see all of them step up and sort of stop a very safe distance away.
And sort of call on some very basic magic since we're not really moving. Just sort of snap and that gloved hand appears. I just try to use the mage hand to just hold the wheel steady. I figure 10 pounds of force should be enough, more or less, to keep it straight.
Sure, yeah. More than enough to keep the wheel from spinning out of control unless a terrible wind comes blowing in.
I just stand nearby, but I turn around to face the three of them. So what was your plan with all of this? Samantha just sort of like looks at them like I guess the best emotion would be like disappointment. Like she just caught somebody sneaking into the cookie jar.
We followed the orders of the winged serpent. Gather men, those of human blood. Take them back to the pits. Convert them. Bring more.
Does that sound at all familiar to me in the generations of goofy Yanti bullshit in the desert?
Mostly. There's the entire details not super keen to you in terms of what exactly or how exactly they function, although with enough knowledge now of magic, I'd say you would have picked up on how these things worked. The Yanti in olden days, before they were the Yanti, were humans of Mobia, those who revered the Serpent Empress so dearly that they wished to become just like her. They found methods, really, through their own experimentation and researching and really just exploring through these ancient and ruined cities throughout this apparent desert that grew here. That all throughout the world of Hearth, there are sort of scars and mementos left from a long battle between the forces of order and chaos. And some of these scars, thought to be the blood of demons, are these pits of acritic foul abyssal acid. Those that these Yuan-ti have used in rituals for generations through self-sacrifice or sometimes forced sacrifice and the blood and scale of serpents to transform men and women into serpent folk. That is where the Yuan-ti came from. And their search for greed, for greater avarice to drive them closer to their goals and acquire what they want, they were willing to bring themselves closer to the Serpent Empress and become serpents themselves. Only seems to work with human blood, though. However, you'd also know that as generations passed on, there was something of a greater, I guess one would call it a renaissance of the Yuan-ti, those who were willing to sacrifice more. In throwing themselves into the pits and becoming serpent-like, the Yuan-ti sacrificed something crucial that made them human, or at least formerly human, and that was their emotions. They remained as blank slates in the world, unfeeling, really unprone to fear and charm. Really just sort of robotic creatures like the ones you see before you, although it seems that as time has passed, some of them have overcome this weakness. But those who self-sacrifice, those who throw themselves into the pits, removing all of their humanity, those are the Malisons. The ones who've used these abyssal pits to annihilate the last bit of humanity in them, become even more serpent-like, and in return, gain greater strength and magic, that to imitate the Serpent Empress. So these pits, yeah, they sound pretty familiar. Pretty nasty stuff. You probably know them as the Pits of Mershalk, or otherwise as the Pits of the Abyss.
Gotcha. Where are you three from? You from Ronka?
Darunga.
How did you fall into the influence of this cult?
The Winged Serpent's influence has been around for nearly a year. His word, tales of his power, carried through the desert for quite some time. Many were skeptical, others taken, forced by hand into his ranks. But weeks ago, the Winged Serpent himself arrived in the city of Dorunga. He bestowed a moment of power to convince the people with a warning: to serve him as God, or to be struck down by the wrath of the divine. We do not want to die. Our lives are our closest and most precious treasure. And so we followed.
What of... come on. What of Etzazar?
The Barter Lord remains behind, as far as we know.
Did he swear allegiance to this Winged Serpent?
He would not. He does not find credence in his word. Magic, he claimed, is all it was.
There's a part of Samantha that is heavily, like, sort of muted and just sort of suppressed by what she's been feeling these last few days, but there's just enough underneath all of that to almost kind of smile internally. And he says, someone with some fucking sense in this desert. Where were you going? A place unmarked? Any landmarks?
A lost temple. Within is a pit of the abyss. Nothing more. From there the Malisons would take them to the Lost Isle. Though we are not allowed to see, only those most devout may go.
So you only served him out of fear.
He is a powerful creature. Very powerful. We do not want to die. We do not want to be killed. Our lives are all we have left. And he promises ascension. His words may be lies. They may also be true. If the alternative is death, we would choose a false promise. Perhaps there is hope.
I know there are many amongst my group, my allies, at least one, maybe two, that have left now. Would say that your life is not worth taking the lives of others. Though I can certainly see why you would feel otherwise. I would know why, since I know you. You have yielded. And in my long history, I have not honored many promises, especially to my followers. But you all have been taken from your lives. What it was you were doing in Darunga, the people you may have had some relationship with. You weren't always cultists, were you? What were you?
Whatever we needed to be. We are hollow. We slink in shadows and find purpose. We put on masks and become who we must be. Yes, yeah, looking over these people, you've seen in your past, at least recently in Roka too, some Yonti seem to find a way to fill that void, whatever that emptiness is inside them, and express emotion. Nuzo is one of them, and you would probably guess yourself as well. You have a wide range of emotions. The others you've come across, especially like one of Izael, all of them seem to be almost robotic. They're completely devoid of expression besides ones they want to show. If you've seen that when some of their superiors offer fear or force as a mean of control, a Yonti will respond in kind, but won't necessarily feel anything. He's just giving them what they want. Putting on the mask, as it were. And these Yonti seem to be the prime example of their kind. Those without purpose, those without, I guess really you call it that sense of fulfillment. Just some of the lost Yonti created by you and left behind in the world.
Will you follow my instruction if I give it?
It would be most wise. You have shown mercy and great power.
Even if I require you to show mercy and great power.
So be it.
I have been thinking. I have often been disgusted by you all. Disgusted by what I have become. By what I have created. Souls who are willing to throw away every bond that they so claim to love, turn themselves into monsters. But I am not sure of it. I'm not sure if you're even capable of it. Though there are few. At least I can offer you this. I will do what I can to see to it that you are not, in this instance, carted away in chains, though I am not sure how at the moment. I promised you salvation, not imprisonment, though you have committed crimes. But you will pay a price, and you'll be granted salvation. I must see if she believes it's possible. And Samantha's snakes sort of just look up from herself and scan across the boats and lock on to the most hopeful, wise, but at the same time beautifully naive person she's ever met, Persephone. For now, help yourself and relax. As Samantha will just toss like a wineskin to them and just go back to sailing.
You can see them just go back to their point. You can see them sort of looking to each other, not really saying anything, but sort of sharing knowing looks, and they kind of leave the wineskin on the ground, and so just take points of watch. Every once in a while, they'll check inside of the cabin to see the currently well manacled and restrained creature inside this thing with snakes for arms, and then go back to their watch. As it seems to be someone just sort of following orders mindlessly, or that's not mindlessly, more so without resistance. As yeah, some time would pass, and eventually you'd be coming on the horizon closer to Roka, and between you and the path, you'd see a golden silhouetted creature walking with a bar strung across his shoulders, seeming to just enjoy the view. As what have you been doing this whole time, Demercon?
Tomar's just sort of been in thought. Like to have his little moment, saving the day once again. But on his way back, he knew it was going to be a bit of a trek, and he sort of let his mind wander about sort of the situation, mostly focusing on Samantha, because it knows, he knows that Samantha's having a hard time with this. She's been real melancholy throughout this whole venture, and it certainly seems like she is trapped within her own mind right now, and was a little scared how she sort of just lost herself to violence as soon as it erupted, but trying to figure out in his mind a way of trying to help, because it seemed like his words originally may have sparked all of this, driven her into this place of self-reflection that maybe she was not ready for, and just trying to think of different ways, a conversation, an act that could help her find the right way forward. And then throughout walking through this desert, basically nothing in every direction except dunes, you start to notice that a nice little unique sight out in the desert of how the landscape out on the horizon would shift and stir and change, how it almost seemed like lakes formed in between these gigantic dunes, although he learned pretty quickly. He first arrived here in this plane, in this type of place, within the desert, and learned what these were, the mirages, the changes, the things that weren't actually there. But at least it brings about a bit of inspiration to him. A large pool of water, a place of self-reflection, and maybe a voice that is wiser than his, that Samantha might need to listen to. With that, he's a little bit happy with himself, coming to a bit of a realization. Another chance, another gamble, as he just walks on, enjoying his time out in the desert. Being more accustomed to the heat than he used to be, especially after diving up the top of a volcano.
Certainly. As yep, shortly, like I said, once you come to your epiphany, you'd see from behind shadows rising and falling over the dunes. The skimmers would catch up, and yeah, you find yourself, I'm assuming, probably hopping on the last leg of the journey.
Yeah.
Snapping on whichever one you want, and then yeah, unless there's anything else you guys want to do, you guys would find yourselves over in Roka in the later evening, probably closer to like 5 o'clock or so.
I probably have to take over the boat because Yaya's usually blinking up for an hour. It's okay. I give her a hug and I tell Grandma bye bye.
Yeah, we're playing the game still, and nothing's happened.
That's because you were winning.
I don't like this game, but I'm happy it makes you happy. She gives you like a big wet pat on the cheek.
Thanks for helping, Yaya Gigi.
Oh, anytime, you disgusting little girl. Call me for more games. This time, maybe with a bit more, well, oomph to it. Something a bit more hands-on.
Goodbye. As she jumps and dives off into the sand. Immediately. Yeah, she would. Immediately, she jumps over the edge, kind of gracefully here. As the boat hits something hard, and then she's gone.
Grandma got run over by a sand skimmer.
Thanks for driving the car, Grandma. Okay, bail out.
Tuck and roll, Grammy.
Wild card! Ah!
This is where 70 so pleased with herself takes back the helm. It's like, I should bring her out more often. I really like her.
Eventually, time would pass, and you'd find yourselves approaching once again the gates of the great golden city in this setting sky, and the great multicolored ziggurat rising above its walls. As you guys would approach again from the far eastern side, veering them around to settle at the docks. And eventually, you'd see, like the setting sun, a group has gathered, seeing your sails, all three of them together, cutting through the desert air. And you'd be greeted by, looks like a small crowd of people, all of them very familiar, but much less angry than you once saw them before. As Nuza would be among them, you guys would dock the ships, and I'm assuming, what are you guys doing with all your best buddies?
I'm telling
New
my
friends.
God, so we should probably
Bad guys or the hostages?
I mean, all your buddies. What are you doing with all your new friends on the boat? The ones you fought and the ones you hit under the decks?
I suggest to Samantha that we should hide the Yanti below deck and bring all of the other people above deck. You know, just because they're kind of like kidnappers and we don't really want them to be apprehended and we want to give them a second chance. Okay. So we stashed the Yanti in a boat. And
All
we
the
bring
Yanti?
Yeah.
The purebloods and the hostages?
No.
So just the purebloods
Just the
under the
sneaky-
boat, taking the more sneaky ones with you? What are you guys doing with them?
I was gonna talk to them too. So,
Hostages above decks, not people that weren't part of the hostage group below deck.
Gotcha. So hostage above, Yanti purebloods
Yanti
below, Malisons captured. You have 3 of them. Taking
yeah, we take
also
all,
below or
we take
taking
all the Malisons and put them below decks on the small boat by themselves.
Sure. Okay.
Keeping
Good
them separate
stuff.
from the purebloods.
Okay, just making sure you're just doing something with them, so they're just hanging out. That's awesome. All right, yep, making your way in, you see people immediately waving towards your boats. You hear some cries calling out, some joyful, some angry, as some of the hostages now finding themselves back on footing, and even one of them seemingly being somewhat familiar, just within the last few hours of having met him and fought him, a broad-shouldered, copper dragonborn, kind of still heaving from some horrid drink he had, standing up and waving towards the crowd as well. As you guys would dock upon the ships, the hostages would very carefully make their steps back onto the dock, still stuck on sea legs, it seems like, walking a bit bow-legged, some of them tripping and falling before they help each other up, and get ushered away into the arms of loved ones or others, the scorned grasps of what seem to be all too knowing spouses. And among them, you'd see Nuzo, her hands sort of clasped to her chest and just breathing a sigh of relief. And she approaches you guys. I cannot thank you enough. And for bringing all of them back. Skimmers and people. I think you may have saved me from a public execution. And she goes over and takes your hands and shakes them and comes over and gives Kulor a big hug.
All in a day's work.
But they really have executed her here.
Yes.
What?
The hostilities between the people of the White Sands and the Yanti have only, disintegrated over the last few months.
Roka was a place of refuge for us, but
during the high tide, people from all over the world come here. It's as both a wondrous opportunity as well as it is dangerous. And that, I suppose, is the nature of the White Sea. Come, as payment for all of you, I wish to offer you room and board for while you're here in Roca. A bed for all of you, a room, food, all you can eat, all you can have. It is the least I can do for you.
In a moment.
Scenery.
Temarcon,
Yes, my friend.
you were able to make quite a commotion out in the desert by some sort of magic, were you not?
Yes.
Can you bestow that magic upon anyone's voice?
Think about the many blessings of races. Think about the limitations of such things.
Is he pulling out a card out of his pocket and reading it?
Because it says range, but then it also says your.
I am
Yes,
afraid that the voice of races is only limited to, well, the children of races. It is not a blessing I can bestow, my friend.
Fair enough. As you'll see Quildor start to climb up halfway up on the mast on one of the larger ships. The sun just catching the armor, just glittering, just kind of becoming a beacon of light. People of Roca, I, the Sand Whisperer and the valiant Vanguard, fulfilled our promise of bringing your people back safe and vanquishing those that would do harm and would disturb the peace of the citizens of Roca. I declare that not all Yuan-Ti are such heinous creatures as the ones we have vanquished. We are protectors of those who are innocent, and we will stop the incursions of the Yuan-Ti cult wherever it may seep its head.
As roll me a persuasion check with advantage.
Where's that roll?
Persuasion check of history.
The most important persuasion check ever. Hey, nice.
There we go. Canonically, racism
I
is
have
over,
plus
everyone.
10. I have 10.
As you are very
I
persuasive.
saw
You are good at
that.
inspiring people with your past experience in leading
racism.
chirps, as well as calling upon, with your wisdom, knowing how to pull upon people's heartstrings and inspire them with your words. You'd hear an applause, I guess, call out from this crowd, and you'd hear sort of loudly from them, sort of maybe those very taken by your words, or otherwise strong opportunists, sort of spiking words out from the middle of the crowd, giving way to an idea that for the rest of the evening, amidst the high tide, this district, the noble and merchant district, they would be dragging food carts, piling them here to celebrate the Valiant Vanguard's great efforts for the return of the champions, for the naming of a new champion, and otherwise, just a celebratory day, a day for good, that they would be spreading throughout the entirety of this district. A party, a festival filled with food and laughter and dance on one of these final few, I guess, midnights of the high tide. And you, the Valiant Vanguard, the champions of the arena, they would love for you to be there and celebrate with them tonight. Just enjoying some festivities. As everyone seems pretty taken by your words, Quildor. Good shit.
So everyone in this group's so good at convincing people to do things. I have a lot to learn.
Climb on down that mast.
All right. Yeah. Nuza would sort of usher some of the men back onto their feet. Sort of give them, some of them, cursory and kind of hesitant offerings of maybe some food and water for their troubles. Some of them seem very hesitant about accepting drinks from the Yanti woman, but others a bit more trusting. And slowly but surely, the crowd starts to disperse back into this large mob of people that spreads throughout the area as you guys are sort of left to your own devices, though there are some still, people staying by to see you, wave at you, get autographs if they can, shake your hand. What are you guys up to with your hostages still bumping around in the ships?
I just
I want to
realized
find. Persephone and Sotolo and just let them know that I'm going to sneak away for a bit. I'll return, not too long. I'll leave the rest to you.
Oh.
Mar's gonna slink away.
Apollo gives you a raised eyebrow, but well, in public, so she doesn't say anything of it. As she goes back to greeting the crowd.
I just realized Persephone's autograph is probably going to come with a pressed petal on their pages.
Yeah. Yeah, there's your petal.
Yeah, there we go. Everybody gets a little flower petal from her endless supply of flowers.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm going to go and find Samantha. Wherever the hell she went. She's not hard to find. She has a head of snakes. Whole head.
Yeah, she just goes over to like the parking lot behind the silken seabed where all the sand skimmers are haphazardly pulled into, I suppose.
Everyone's tailgating, yeah. Yep, you'd find like the back docks. No, they're tailgating. They're just hanging out. Everyone's at the back of the sand skimmer drinking some beer.
Oh my god.
Now you'd find the docks where it looks like she'd kept her ships. They're sort of a private dock. She seems to be a person of import here. She's a leader of the Crosshairs, so she kind of has her own separate little dock that's not perturbed by the public.
And
prone to themes apparently.
Take some time to gather the pure bloods from both of the large boats into one singular boat. Trying to do so relatively discreetly.
Sure. Give me a stealth check.
Do you need help?
Can you roll higher than Persephone's passive perception?
I didn't even notice you coming up behind me. I went to talk with the Yonti. I don't really have much of a mood for festivals right now.
Understandable.
Oh, and is he coming? He's coming this way.
Hey guys.
I wave at Corin as he approaches.
Hey, Corin. I was going to go talk to the Yonti. Try to get them in one place, but I don't want. And she sort of looks around like a outcropping of stone or something. People to notice them. I'd rather not have to fend off a mob right now.
I could dig a tunnel from one ship to the other one.
Would that be fast?
Pretty fast.
Tunnel?
How fast? I want to watch. If it's really, really fast, which wouldn't hurt. It would be an easy way to get them back and forth. And it would probably raise less suspicion because we'd only go into one boat instead of going back and forth between two.
So as I can kick up the sand, I don't know if it'll last too terribly long.
Well,
Sand, guys. Sand.
Just... It seems... If you think it'll work, fine, I guess. It's not like I can hide them underneath a big cloak or something.
Right, well then we'll just have to move pretty quickly then. So just collect them and then we'll start.
So I'll go get the other two so they can hopefully join the other three.
Sure. You pull out your little shovel and you'd probably watch with a bit of amazement as this tiny little man immediately sort of like digs it into the sand. And it does seem like, fortunately enough, the closer you get to this solid foundation that is the city, the ground's a bit more firm. There is a layer of thin sand near the top, but after brushing some of it away, maybe after like a minute or so, you'd find some harder sandstone that seems to hold the city above the ground. And with just sort of a single... What does it look like, Corin, as you just literally dig your shovel in and just take huge, massive chunks out of the ground with just single swipes and cuts?
It is completely cartoonish as he just digs in once and just pulls out this large chunk of, I guess, sandstone that seems maybe like 3-4 times his own size. just kind of usually just tosses it to the side.
Fucking mole person.
And just over and over until he's just a hole in the ground with dirt and rock flying out, and then just slowly but surely make a somewhat temporary and slightly haphazard, but still structurally sound tunnel between the boats. Which I'm assuming if you pop out the other side and usher the Yonti into the hole, they would, as best of their ability, stealthily try to crawl through a halfling-sized hole in the ground. Takes a bit of time. They are technically squeezing through it as you are smaller than them, but
Wait,
with
you
enough
don't
time,
slither through it?
I can't. They're not particularly snaky enough, as they would try to slide, brushing their shoulders through. But after maybe about 20 or so minutes, maybe 30 in total, just trying to brush their way through in the digging time in total, you'd find at the other side of your ship, following after Corin, one dusty, dirty snake serpent head, another one Yonti, brushing off the dirt, looking a bit bewildered by their means of travel, but very willing to follow after it.
I'm doing my best to make sure you don't lose your heads. Come, let us discuss this cult. Joining the others in the other boat.
Okay, yep, you'd have 5 Yonti purebloods, basically finding ample seating, or maybe just standing around the boat with you guys, dusting, a lot of them dusting the dirt off their body and shaking it out of their hair, blinking it out of their eyes.
Persephone's pulling out a journal so she can take effective notes. And just smiles at Samantha. Whenever you're ready.
The other two of you also from Darunga?
I hail from a small village to the south. It is no longer there. It has been swallowed by a storm.
The other ones are looks around.
I am from here. I was a worker at the Silken Seabed.
And why did you join the cult?
I wanted more. I was a worshipper of the Serpent Empress. Not an avid one, but enough to know the desire. And then she left. And when he came, and when tales of his power, the might of a living god, spread to the lands, I followed in suit. Secretly, of course. I watched and listened.
Some of the other people were talking about ascension. What's that all about?
The winged serpent is gifted with the light and power of the divine. He has found it in his travels, gained it from a crown, and stole it away from an envoy of the heavens. He claims he can use these powers with time and worship to rise above the mortal world, to become a true god, and he shall take his people with him, ascending above mankind to rule over them, as we are meant to.
Some things never change. Sort of snap and summon Raziel. Yes. This winged serpent, we refer to him as such, but I assume he does not look like the true envoy.
As Maraziel sort of looks over the Yonti.
Oh, hello there. None of these ones look familiar.
As the Yonti sort of looking him over, kind of give him a... One of them at least gives him sort of like a shocked expression.
Those are his wings. Smaller, less opalescent, but still very similar.
As Raziel looks over.
It seems this one has seen the wings of the winged serpent. Tell me,
I had an idea of where he gained his might. It's what drove me to him. Is it true he found a crown? A mithril crown. As you'll see, the serpent will tilt his head. He wears it upon his brow. The crown of Argos. The last artifact left of the Serpent Empress. Stolen to Crossway, but retrieved.
And Samantha just sort of noticeably leans her head back, looking up at the ceiling, and just sort of stretches her face out, sort of hearing all of the pieces fall together.
Ooh, that's an interesting reaction to. So what's that about?
You stretching your face out like that for?
I
Persephone,
heard
do you
about-
see any signs of deceit?
Nope.
Nope. No.
No.
Yeah.
They're telling the truth. And I remember when we were in Crossway, there was mention of a crown that had been taken. I was in that district when I got my pendant updated. They were really upset about it.
Yes, what were their names? Black Talons, Black Claws, whatever. They were searching for such things. Do you not recall, Persephone? The mithril crown
The
was...
Black Fury.
That's the one.
We thought it was them that took the crown because they were acquiring mithril objects.
Seeking to bring their
The Globy Head.
fake god into this world, yes. And now, sort of looks at Raziel. This winged serpent, or as you call him,
Siseth.
Siseth.
I saw you thinking.
Oh, I was asking. Samantha couldn't fucking remember. She has a lot of other names for him. Seems to be the one that has acquired it, whether it be from the Black Furies or the one that stole it in the first place.
I see when the Auntie tilt its head. Very few left remained worshipping the Serpent Empress. Those who did wish to preserve the last pieces of her memory, the last pieces of her divinity. It is said a thief ventured to Crossway to retrieve it, a devout of the Serpent Empress, a priest named Siseth, he who now resides as the Winged Serpent.
How quickly the so-called faithful turn into blasphemous, given a taste of power.
It is her will to take what you want. If a piece of the goddess fell to this world, it would be blasphemous for us not to take everything we want. It is what we were promised.
Okay, I can't lean towards Samantha. Why did you promise them that?
I don't want to get into a discussion on
Curse is just gonna
the metaphysical
Insert
soul
herself?
with you, Corin.
Between the two.
Which of you wish to return to this winged serpent, if given the chance?
We have been defeated. Our loyalty is no longer crucial or required. It is
You're
too obvious we would
loyal,
be
then.
killed. It's too obvious that we will be killed if we return to him. There is no purpose.
What about your abyss pit covered idiot fool allies?
They are the devoted. They are those who threw away the last of their humanity for this god. The Malisons of the Serpent Empress are nearly all gone, vanished from the world in the great plague that followed. Those who rose now are the followers of the Winged Serpent. There is no force in this world, save for the greatest magic that could force them to betray him.
I figured as much. And I have not heard the desperate pleas of the Malisons in a very long time. What should I do with them, Persephone? There was a time where I would wish them the best of luck in their next roll of the dice, as she sort of looks at them and her snakes sort of eye each one of them, ever so slightly baring their fangs, just an inability at this moment, it seems, to hide her intrinsic sort of malice and disgust with what they are, but without trying to be overtly hostile, just...
Extend a kind hand if they are as far gone as they claim. There might not be anything else that we can do for them.
Oh, no. Not the Malisons. I have another idea for them. These 5. They are without purpose, and I wonder if I give them purpose, if they will see it through, or if they will find themselves swayed by something simpler.
Oh. Well, then that's what you should do. You give them the second chance. If they follow through, then you know you can trust them. And if they don't, we tried. We offered. Sometimes that's the best that we can do.
None of you have a drive of your own, a family you wish to return to, a passion just beneath the surface, like so few of you do, right? You need direction.
It is why we follow the will of the gods, whoever they may be. Those who give us purpose, power, who feel a desire. That is who we follow.
Do you fear death?
Yes.
Are you willing to fight for your life?
Yes.
Are you willing to fight for another? Not me, but each other.
Not before my own. As one of them sort of speaks up on its own after a moment of silence. And they also just look at each other.
He said, not before my own?
Not before my own.
Persephone puts a hand on Samantha's arm. She just has like this knowing smile.
Look, Samantha, it's you, and you, and you, and you, and you.
I'm trying to, can you parse that for me? Because we got into like
Wait, you fight for someone else? Not before me. I would not throw myself on a sword for someone else. Look at me, I'm important. I'm doing this so I stay alive. It's all I got.
Early campaign Samantha.
Have you ever been interested in the pursuit of knowledge? You have such long lives. You shouldn't waste it on just power and greed. You should learn stuff sometime.
There is
What do you
much
think?
to be gained from knowledge.
Sure, but just self-fulfillment and knowledge. I mean, Ione gives me that. And she doesn't require me to get human sacrifices. I just learn.
That's what you think.
Maybe.
A very,
Hopefully.
Wasting
very-
time to learn useless knowledge.
but it's not
Strange.
useless. In fact, often the ones that hold the most power are the ones with the most information. Is
To
that
be a
not why you
target.
would...
To be a
No.
target.
Or to help change the world for the better.
These are strange new ideas.
They are.
But they're new, and therefore you should explore them.
It is what has allowed me to reclaim so much of my own power. Things that I cannot explain. The celestial realm is not as it once was, and my relationship with my seniors has resulted in a lot of changes. To be completely frank with you, I am powerful, but there is someone far older, far more knowledgeable, far greater than I could hope to be, it seems. But I have grown in ways I could never have in the heavens. You want a purpose for the time being. I will give you one. And I will make it easier than what I had to go through. Because you are going to go on a pilgrimage for your God. A pilgrimage of self-discovery. To learn of yourself and of each other and of those you meet. Ask for coin for favors. Demand payment for the things you do. But maybe in this pilgrimage you will find yourself doing what needs to be done for the sake of doing it. Even for me, it has become a rarity, but it can happen. I ask this of you, I cannot force you, but it is the purpose I am giving you. For if I find you, and you have turned back to something unwilling to learn of itself, only wishing to inflict more harm in exchange for power, then you have failed in your purpose. This is your second chance. Take this and see the world. See beyond this sandy pit that I have trapped you all in. Experience new things, meet new people, and grow. That is your pilgrimage. Adventure. Do you accept?
Yes. As I immediately answer.
Well, while you guys are out doing that, here's some light reading as I start handing out little Bibles of Iron.
Jesus Christ.
Are you a missionary? What the fuck is this?
You really
They can't shut the door on you, can they? You just hold it open.
Ding
And
dong.
you shut the door, you fucking dig in.
Yeah, you just
You're,
burrow into your house.
you're really
Yep.
a fan of the Silent Mother.
She inspires me every day.
Aw.
As they sort of just take these pamphlets, these more like small
Notice
books,
Samantha
pamphlets.
every time Corin speaks so highly of Ayun, Samantha like noticeably sort of looks in his direction, and you notice more and more of her snakes just sort of keeping an eye on him.
Oh.
As Samantha takes out some of her wonderfully learned, always permanently pressed and sealed bundles, and hands each of them a bundle of what's a small loan from Dad?
Small loan of 2 million gold pieces.
I know, right? Give each of them 75 gold pieces.
All right, easily enough. Big old stack of coins. They take that, their books, and they just sort of wait to be ushered, assuming they're still on the boat being kept inside. Unless you're giving them a ride or just sending them out back into town to leave. They would basically start to follow suit. Although they would give the new prizes they have, and each of you sort of a strange, confused expression, they would accept them nonetheless.
Thumbs ups.
As I sort of like read out that not read out, just sort of fucking came up with that that fucking mission to them, and after giving them the packages of gold, I would ask Persephone if any one of the 5 looked genuinely interested, if there was any sign or
If someone more enthusiastic than just going along with it?
yeah, if any one of the 5 of them looked like there was just any sign of like a twinkle behind the eye, any sort of subconscious reaction to the notion of that.
Roll me an insight check. 'Cause you're actively looking for it.
Yeah, I got this. A 30.
Hey, nice.
Oh,
Yep. Looking over these kind of somewhat hard to read creatures, you've seen that they're willing. You've seen in the past the Yonti are willing to put on a mask and act a certain way, just to bestow an emotion or elicit a reaction. These ones here, completely maskless, blank in their expressions. You would watch as they sort of have these slightest reactions, each one of them somewhat individual to the way Samantha's describing this pilgrimage. There was an immediate reaction when she said, "I want you all to leave." And it was immediate like recognition in their expressions of acceptance. Like it seemed like they were on board the moment she said leave. Probably better than the alternative. But as she did mention pilgrimage, the books of Ayun, one of them does seem to sort of hold on to the pages and linger on a couple of them a little extra longer than the others who simply skip through and close it. You notice that some of them, one of their eyes would like glance out past the staircase leading out of the ship, maybe towards one of the cracks in the ships towards the light in a certain direction. It seems like there's moments, hints that there is something deeper within these creatures, although they are, probably most of them aren't entirely aware of it. But there is something in there that seems to be sparked.
I twist my ring and speak into it to point out which one that is to Samantha.
Oh, there's just a variety of them.
Oh, there's a couple of them?
Oh yeah, it's like you notice one's kind of like looking through the book, especially one's kind of looking off in a direction. But yeah, not
think
super noticeable except for your eye.
I just
You just
smile
take a-
at Samantha and I just tell her, I think this is going to be a great idea.
I'm sort of just taking a look myself. And I just essentially, with the inside of a fucking doorknob, pick one at random. And I walk up to them at this point. You are, all of you, another shot in the dark. I sort of take out my scepter and conjure up that book and flip open. And I just sort of freeze for a moment. After looking at Luna's name, I turn the book towards the one I picked out at random. Conjure up that quill. Here. Sign your name.
I should sort of look over this magical manifestation in front of her and then take the quill and very, very quickly and gracefully, with long winding motions, writes down the name Iska.
No. In your pilgrimage, Iska, the Serpent Empress is choosing to believe in you. Do not let her down. As for just a moment, looking at this pure blood, she would notice just this sort of flash of power behind her eyes as she sort of just tries her very best to commit this woman to memory, and the slightest shine of a tear building in her eyes as Samantha makes her way out of the boat.
And she just sort of watches you, confused in your expression, make your way out. Probably Persephone would hear it better. Although you'd have advantage on your perception with all your sneakies out. Just the thing kind of speaking quietly, more to itself than anything. I will know this when I meet her. And just sort of follows out the rest of the Yanti off the boat.
And I follow after Samantha.
Wait, did we leave the
Are we going to just ignore the Malisons?
No, that's where I'm going.
Okay. I thought we brought him.
Good.
Whatever. I'm following Samantha.
The other boat.
Yeah, I thought we brought him to our boat.
Interesting choice.
They have eaten themselves.
Not a bad decision. I was hoping for more questions. But alas, it is your pilgrimage as well. I am simply a pair of eyes.
If you had something you wanted to know, you should have asked. As heading to the Malison boat, I hand over the talking stick.
Oh, well, I asked Samantha if she liked Ayun or not. I saw you kind of look at Corn a little funny. Was Ayun nice to you? Did she bully you? I usually liked Ayun. Should I not like Ayun? Is she actually nice? Is she really silent?
Frustratingly so.
Well, then, I'd imagine you'd get along great.
You see an obvious sign that Samantha has some sort of resentment to her.
Ah, okay.
Corn is just walking behind, just so happy that he got followers.
Well, I'll remember that for the other Yanti.
You made this cult? My cult. You made this cult.
This is my cult.
Yeah.
I am
That's
cult
all.
captain now. All right. So what the rest of y'all up to? We're gonna pull away real quick because we got people just piling up on this
Vibing.
boat. What are the rest of y'all doing at this time?
How
Shooting
large
across
is
the
the
city
crowd,
for
and how
umbrella.
long do we have to entertain them?
The people?
Yeah.
I'm just having a party of this district. You can hang out and you can just leave.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just me and Coldor, it seems, so yeah. We all will stay for as long as she's interesting.
Okay. Hammercon shooting across the city. Cool. Are you just chilling with Nuzo? What are you doing?
I'm going to eat. I'm going to drink, and then I'm going to fuck.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
As yeah, with your amazing speech rallying the people of Roka after that terrible kidnapping incident, you're kind of the star of the show, especially as the rest of your group just seems to fade away, save for Swift Hollow. So yeah, all the attention seems to funnel down onto you. You basically get a crowd following you. You have an amazing feast, lots of food, lots of drinking. Seeming with your high constitution, able to outdrink. Actually, roll me a con save real quick. Let's see how well you outdrink everyone.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Certainly, you're able to withstand.
Winning.
You're basically leading the pack at this point. As at some point, you sort of have a wine drinking contest as well. It turns into an ale, and then turns into snake venom contest, the most potent drink of them all in the city. And it seems like you're able to withstand them all. And then, yep, as the evening starts to get on a little bit, you and Nuzo retire for the most part. Although it seems like there's still festivities to be had. Just a bit of a reprieve from your battle. Alrighty. As Tamarkan making your way over to Mandrakan in the great old shimmering pond. And it seemed to be nice and quiet over here. Mandrakan, seemingly as usual, avoiding the loud festivities for a moment of peace and silence by himself when he's not coercing and commingling with the people of Roka.
I'm just sort of making quick work to get to him. As soon as I see him, light in my eyes. Brother, Madri! I'm glad I did not have to hunt for you.
Oh, you are back so soon, brother.
And it
I
is
have...
past.
Oh, seems to be. I wondered how you would fare out there in the high tide, but it seems nothing can stop you. Tell me. Oh, you come to join me for another session of tea tonight? Another late night rendezvous? The guy gives you more of a stern, but still a smile on his face.
Of course! But maybe with less tricks this time. I do apologize about that, but it seems like you had laid a trap for me as well, eh? Cut it even, yes?
I would say so. I do apologize if I had taken something proud of yours. That title, I assure you, is still all yours in spirit.
Oh, no. It was a man we were looking for anyway. A companion. Did me a favor. I got to taste his metal, to trade blows, to feel the spirit of the thing. It was an honor. I just wish I had a bit more time. I think it should not, did I not? But it is all, as they say, water into the beach. Although, I try to say, I might have to owe you another one at the end of the day. I have a bit of a request, if you are able to do it at least.
I certainly believe I could be possible, depending on its nature, of course, brother. I mean, I cannot spend all day bringing people's body parts back alive, filling them with new life. Unless this is something different. Not a friend losing a hand again.
A friend losing something, and it might be harder to mend than just a hand. And not something that I believe you and I could do alone. But you have built a wonderful sanctum here. A place that feels and smells like home. I asked you before of what this place connected to, and I am hoping to set up a visit of sorts. If you can speak to our old teacher.
You wish for her to meet the
Samasa.
serpent.
She has fallen on hard times, it seems. Much like the story of our father long ago. It seems like she is faced with an impossible task, and our advice has only driven her further away from us. I think she needs a mirror to gaze into.
As you know, I cannot simply force her to arrive. She is an old power. I can simply beckon her presence. And if you were to bring your friend here, give her patience or reason to have patience and rest in the water, and perhaps her presence will arrive. Perhaps a mirror will be given. But I cannot make promises it will be her. I cannot make promises she will have words to speak. But I can only promise to grant you the opportunity.
I think that is more than enough. I have not spoken to her in a while. Neither the pig. Do you know? There's something she favors of late. Something that might try to afford. Get her attention.
Hard to say, really. Her presence has been recently beckoned by some strange phenomenon. You've just arrived, you may not have noticed. As he'll, like, sort of get up and wander over. And you'd see it now as he's walking, the sun's starting to get lower, the walls casting great shadows in this area. Just every so often, the slightest, like, shimmer in the distance. It looks like maybe something laying on the ground, a leaf falling from a tree. And then you'd see, just sort of scattered, maybe a dozen or so in this entire area. One of them falls from a tree next to you and lands right next to your feet. It looks like a leaf, but it's not. It's long, somewhat thin, very beautiful looking. A long stretch of like pearlescent looking like fibers on a long stem. It looks like a feather. As he'll go over and pick one, looks like a small basket inside his little hut and pulls them out. These things have been falling upon this city for the last day or so. Quite beautiful, if you ask me. As he sort of turns them around, you see this low light shimmering across them. It touches the water stirs. When they fall, the wind, it bellows. Something quite interesting seems to be festering here. Or perhaps its presence is simply building. I wish to watch and see what happens, but it seems it's caught her attention. Perhaps if she brings one with her, she'll be more willing to speak.
Come on,
To see it for herself.
Crash.
Oh, sorry about that, brother.
Weird.
Right.
But she already has her eye on this place. And I do have a something a bit up our sleeve. If you have built the door, and she already watches it, I may have a way to open it. Although, I do not know if my companions will like the idea. It may be a bit dangerous. But, if you will allow it, I will see if I can get the door open. Long enough to speak. And hopefully she is listening. Simply wish for your blessing.
Your presence here at times is a nuisance, I must admit, brother, but there is always enjoyment to see you walking, enjoying yourself in this world. And even, yes, finding yourselves in dangerous predicaments. It is a joy to see that that spirit still lives on within us. You have my blessing to do as you wish, so long as you do not disturb the garden, so long as this place is not wrecked by your antics. Do your best to lay a careful hand. I will sit and watch, to keep order and shepherd the chaos. But you and your friends are always welcome.
Good to hear, my friend, my brother, my buddy, my other part. I will say too, just a passing rumor. I have heard tale of our brother. Up north in the icy west. It seems like he has started to create a tale of his own. One more of folklore than most. And maybe not so much of heroics and more of, well, destruction in his wake. But given time, I hope, after work here is done, we might go find him sooner rather than later.
I cannot change his nature, but I can ask you for favor in return for this. If you do find Gorkhan, I ask that you do your best to tame this conqueror's nature he seems to have taken. I have spoken to past lives, those who have interacted with him. Although we all have love and respect for one another, his desire for strength at times has put us at odds ends. He may come for you with swinging fists, to take what is yours if he wants it. Your treasure, any you may have gathered for this great contest, he may wish to covet it if he has none his own.
Of course.
I simply ask that you try and find peace in him.
We were growing up within the wilds. We found each other upon our path. That is very often what it came to. These very heavy feasts coming in my direction. But we made peace. It's time. I'm sure I can cool his temper once again.
Very well.
Thank you, Madri. I should get back. I left a bit unprompted. Enjoy yourself. And tea. Yes. Later.
I shall bring my own.
That's all. Pick up one of the feather at my feet. Does it seem to stay intact?
Seems like it for the most part. It just seems like the longer it stays in your hand and the darker it gets around you, the more it begins to glow ever so softly, as if lit by the edge of candlelight.
I see
Very
nothing.
beautiful looking.
So I'll just spin it in my wrist as if it disappears in my hand, but with a little quickness, little sleight of hand, drop it down into my little side pouch, my little mini bag of holding, and then I'll retreat
Nice.
back to the party.
Alrighty. Everyone
My
doing their
keyboard
stuff.
will stop fucking with me.
Yeah. As back on the boat. Back on the boat. Got the people talking to the Malachons. As heading over. Assuming you guys keep these guys mostly tied up.
There are plenty of bondage supplies.
Oh yeah. Very suggestive looking constraints is what they're contained in. Which one? You got a snakehead. How many do you have? Let me double check. You've got two big old dudes with snake heads. And one of them is large and built, other one's more svelte and completely covered in scales. And the last one seems to be a normal looking dude with a pair of snake hands that all three of them seem to be unconscious. At least semi-conscious now. You've certainly chosen the hard path. These creatures are quite devout. Whatever information you might get out of them, well, you might find it held tight between sharpened fangs.
Well, then, I don't know, pretend to be interested. I mean, I'm certainly interested. A creature that can promise some sort of ascension. I mean, it must be powerful. Just don't seem hostile. Just curious.
Corin's right. If they think we'd want to follow the winged serpent, they might be more than happy to tell us where we could find him, even. It could save us a lot of time on our travels if we know exactly where we're going.
Yeah, and instead of saying like, hey, we want to learn from you guys or join you guys, because we kind of did just stop them. They probably won't listen to that. But make them believe that they can convince us to join them.
This
I
sounds
think
a
out of-
clever beast. I like him.
Out of the three of us, Corin, you are the most interested in at least learning about the winged serpent. Maybe he could ask the questions. He'd be more believable, and it might be harder for you, so we might not have to say much. Corin could just do the talking for us. We tell him what we need to know, and then he could try to get it out of them. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I eat them. No, I carry them.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, they sort of come to life. They're not as strong as before, as they definitely got battered and beaten to unconsciousness. But you do seem to be able to pick them up, and as they writhe a little bit in resistance, they don't really have any way of stopping you, and you sort of easily place them down where you want them.
Interesting, but okay.
Execution style.
Oh.
Okay. Silent steps.
I don't know what you're doing.
But
You just point to them.
But Persephone knows. Because she knows Samantha, so I'm gonna botanic yeet them across.
As you would catch on this one and drag him across the ground suddenly.
This group is so strange.
And I smile at Samantha because I did a good job.
He sort of stares at the wall. Just staring at the wall, wherever he's facing, he's just staring, blank, snake-faced.
Holy maybe the others are wrong. Maybe he doesn't care about the winged serpent after all.
He is a god. A living god. I witnessed it myself. His power, untouched, unmatched, wields that of the divine.
What did he do?
Give me a deception check.
Can I help with pure curiosity?
You sure can, Corin.
Took a piece of fabric and filled it with air, and then twisted it and turned it into a dog.
What? No, stop.
Turn into a snake.
That sounded awful until I actually like put together what you were describing.
I don't know how he did it. As you see, as he'll just sort of look around and then see like the curiosity in Corin's eyes, and he just sort of grins and looks up to you, Samantha, seemingly with a look of recognition in his expression, at least what's left of his expression. Not really much humanity left.
He wields great radiant light that can smite down an immortal before him. And with every beat of his wings, the winds of this desert stir in a storm. He can bring down a city as he flies, and he shall.
Honestly, sounds like a dragon. Is he a dragon?
Pitiful reptiles. No,
Ouch.
he has risen above them. Above them all. A place full of desecrators, given fair chance to follow the serpent. Those who have will ascend, those who do not will be a marker, a moment for the will to remember as the desert swallows them all. A divine flies and walks among them. He is to be worshipped or to be your destroyer.
Have you seen him in like person?
He is a Yonti as we, a Malison, risen above his state.
So is it like your size or like big?
Greater in every way.
As his eye just sort of reverts to the side. He's clearly lying. You think he's about the same size as him.
You would let me live. Why?
Well, I mean, between you and me, I kind of get really close and kind of whisper. I kind of want to know more.
You wish to learn of his tale, of his power. Do you wish to kneel?
I mean, I feel like I'm already pretty low enough, but I mean, if that's what he requires. I heard he has a crown. Is it cool?
Powerful. With but a glint of its magic. It takes the mind of others to serve. A true leader, the power of a foolish fallen empress, fit only to be consumed by the next power.
Kind of look back at the other guys. I mean, I want to know more.
Then shall you join me? I've seen your strength. I've heard the thunderous echo of your blows, little one. These ones next to you, these creatures, they cannot be as strong as you. Strike them down, and I will take you to the winged serpent. Kill them both, and I will offer you the salvation of the god.
You know, honestly, I would. I really would. But like that one, as I point to Samantha, she kind of. I'm not great against magic. She kind of. Actually, there's like sand on the floor, right?
A little bit, yeah.
I grab some sand and throw it at Samantha and Persephone's face. Pocket sand. So I pick up the guy and run out the boat.
Gosh.
As what do you guys do as you get sand thrown at you? What on earth is he doing?
Can I avoid pocket sand somehow? What is that? A dex save or something?
It's just throwing improvise. It's. I mean, you actually trying to blind Persephone? Or you just throwing sand at him?
I'm just throwing sand at him.
I say just
Like a
get like sand
distraction.
thrown on your chest, like an obvious fake distraction, but in the heat of the moment.
I'm running.
As hopping out the boat, Corin and Ayanti, yes, flee with me. Hops out the door.
We can always ask the other one's question while Corin handles that one. Oh, I guess not then.
As Samantha seems to be adamant on following.
All right, as Corin's running, are you running in the docks or running out to surround the city? What are you doing?
I guess I'm like running out towards the sands. I kind of look at the guy. Where are we going? Where am I going?
You must flee to the south. That is where they lost her. Oh, they are being in pursuit. Kill her now.
How far south?
Kill her now.
Oh well. I was like, I'll turn back around.
What are you doing?
Well, I mean, I have to go back to kill her.
Ah, yes.
Fair point.
Let's get back to
I'm
it.
sort of just caught up and just saying killer now. I don't know. I lost myself there. My bad.
As I get back to the group. Okay, so they're to the south. You didn't tell me how far though.
Turn the boat, little creature.
As he tries to just fruitlessly fight against your manacles restraints. Certainly seems like it. Seems like it was more towards Mount Cot. This is just straight south from the city.
What if your scouts never found anything? What if they found them and then they moved? I hope your scouts are okay.
You're heading east and then slowly veering towards the south, it seems, but mostly eastward. Yes. Again, mostly east. Yep, seemed like it was on the southern end of the Mount Cotton Mountains, but again, that was months ago. And that was, we're going to go do a parade around the world. All right. And then another month passed, and another month of downtime, and then about a month and close to a month in Fae Elf Adventure. And now we're back. What's up, y'all?
All right, well, Paul goes back in. Nice talking to you. What's your name?
I hope you die a death of 1,000 bites. Poison swimming through your veins until your final moments are agony.
That's a very long name.
I'm gonna call you Bites for short. And I put a ball gag in.
Go.
Mighty big bite face.
Double gag. Gag and then bubble. Silence.
You put ball gags in the snake's mouth. They keep swallowing them.
Kinky?
Whoop. Back in the sound bubble. Dragging on out.
I also don't run away with this one.
Just going one by one, questioning them, seeing if they're all about the same. Doing the same whole lie. Hey, I want to figure out what's more about you. Sure. Give me a deception check with advantage. Yeah, for the most part, save for the sudden escape routine that seemed to work quite effectively in that one creature. Just simply pulling them away and sort of showing interest, or having Korn be sort of the bait as the ever-prying scholar. You don't get quite the same offer of murder your friends to save me. It's more for this creature, a bit more subtle in its delivery. Seems to be more implying that he could offer power. Offer you things, not him, but all of you. Power. Simply follow and serve. You don't know the forces you're meddling with. But otherwise, seems to be about the same. Seems that this creature holds great amount of power. Seems that this creature has the power, at least some of it, to shift the winds themselves. And they all seem to adamantly believe that this thing can, would, and will bury a city. If only as a showcase of power. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely has ire against Orunga. Seems as if it, like one of the Yanti mentioned earlier, he'd been there. And seems like there are people there that didn't want to worship. And so those who did went with them. Those who didn't, well, he's planning to fuck them all up. Pretty bad. That's Cradle Keep over there. And he has not yet visited Roka, though his presence lingers here.
What were you guys gonna do with the people you kidnapped?
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
They are pure creatures of human nature. We would take them to our cleansing pits, turn them greater in form, stronger. Those willing become greater like ourselves. Ascend. You.
This tongue like slaps out of its mouth in your direction as Persephone.
There is human blood in you. Just a touch. Would you not wish to become greater? Abandon the emotion that clouds your mind. See clearer your goal and ascend.
I think I was kind of offered that already.
Her wings flutter behind her.
You could be a snake with wings. You could be another winged serpent.
I could be another winged serpent. Can I be a pink winged serpent? Can I still wear flowers? Can my scales be in the shape of flowers?
Tainted.
A flower-scaled snake?
Yes, absolutely, totally.
You can be whatever you want. Just untie me a little bit.
Shit rainbows. I don't
Flower
know. Just
kawaii snake, just untie me.
As Raziel just sort of like slithers around your hand, looking them over. I must admit, I am quite surprised you've got them talking. A clever ruse. Very clever beast, that one is. I like him. Question for you. This great and powerful winged serpent, as he clearly says this with serpentine disdain, carries with him power. Great power. Power that he has taken in ways that a mortal cannot. Stolen the wings of an envoy. How? I see this creature's just sort of in a weird inhuman way grin, opens its mouth, just the rows of tiny little fangs lining its mouth. He carries with him a gift, that which brought him to this state. An amulet of glowing light. At its center, a single small obsidian ore. Power courses through it, and it feeds him. Feeds his gift of the Serpent Empress. The power of avarice. The power of consumption. What he desires, he feeds on. What ails him, he consumes. It becomes his power. With but a touch, he can take what is yours. As this thing starts to eye Raziel a little more closely. Though I suppose you know that well. Raziel just sort of coils up closer on your elbow. It seems he might have something more than I thought.
When you said the winged serpent was going to handle the people in Darunga, what do you mean exactly? Like just the Yonti? The whole city?
He sort of stares off into the wall and then just sort of looks back to you. When he will act, you will know. The world will know.
That basically answered my question. Persephone nods.
And to see the one before you, at least the last one you talked to, just sort of, again, strangely enough, laughing, but not really as much emotion on his face. Just more like the laughter's coming out of this expression on his face.
Medusa. You say it again. Her name. But I've seen what you've done. Shown mercy. Stand with others on equal ground. Whatever you are not her. But we will accept.
Okay. Just leaving him on the boat.
Yeah.
I have one poultice, but I have many, many balms to give them. So yeah,
Sure.
I'll just use some of my balms of summer quartz to help heal some of their wounds.
Okay.
Corin, could you help me get them off the boat and make sure they don't re-enter the city?
Sure. It's like should I like untie them?
Yeah, outside of the city. That's what I mean. We're taking them out first, and then we're gonna let them go.
Pick them all up. I'm sure I could carry all three of them at the same time.
Barely. Your feet start to drag against the ground, but you are able to pull them on your shoulders. You have the carry weight for it, but just kind of hauling them. Like in a big old stack. Like logs on your shoulders.
Just let me know if you need help. But I don't think I could be much help. But let me know if you need help.
Get your snakes off of me.
Yeah, I get really angry. That would probably kill them. He'd probably go under 7 health. Nah, I'll just keep dragging them. They'll be fine.
Okay. Spend some time taking them outside the city. Seems like most of their wounds have been healed. And I guess like once you start laying them out, the moment I guess you'd see that they're like given some breath's distance for a moment, just sort of the gauge over them, you'd see at first one of them, the normal serpent head one, immediately like twists. His shoulders seem to immediately shrink, pull back to his neck. His arms seem to wrap around his sides in the already manacled state. And you see his form shimmer, and in his body twists into a serpent as manacles fall to the ground, and then he immediately starts slithering off into the desert. As after another one turns into a serpent and slithers away. And the third one turns into a serpent and starts to slither away. Slithering as fast as they fucking go.
Wait, they slip out of their manacles?
They are turning into snakes.
They
Seems like they can do it the whole time.
The whole time. So then why didn't they? Because
Wish I would have waited a little bit.
they want to know as much about us as we wanted to know about the winged serpent. I need to tell Samantha.
So just watch them go with the sad face on my face.
All these books ungiven.
I'm going to give them books before they turn into snakes.
But Ayun! How can you turn the pages with their fingers?
Staple to their backs as they slither away.
Just throw it.
I'm gonna put my hand on Corin's hand and just slowly lower the Ayun pamphlets.
Maybe not these cultists.
The next one.
Maybe just not the Yonti right now.
But if we turn them away from an evil wannabe god to a good guy, wouldn't that be a better thing?
That's why we're trying to turn them to Medusa.
that does not add up.
How so?
I mean, Medusa isn't particularly a good god.
And Ayun wasn't always the silent mother.
Sorry, I forgot my keys.
And I
Slithers away.
I fly off with that.
All right. As time would pass, you guys would probably reconvene later that night, I'm assuming, during all the festivities. Temercon making his way back to the group. Snake slithering off into the darkness. As you'd find the party now in full swing. The sun finally set. Beautiful lights shining around the night city of Roka. Last time you'd been here inside of state, it was the beginning of the new year with festivities and fireworks firing above you. Now it just seems to be the high tide. People flowing through these streets like the water itself. And you guys just simply enjoying yourselves. Probably cool they're joining later. Assuming you guys are meeting up to talk. Yeah, Corin.
We meet up for violence. How about that?
Okay.
We meet up for violence?
Wow, my favorite. You got me there. Swithallow's hand hurts from all the autographs. I'm down for violence right now.
Yes, what are you guys doing with the remaining evening?
Yeah, we'd probably meet up in the brothel.
Okie dokie. We'll just slippity slide on over then.
Hey, Mander.
Yourselves wherever you are. You're not there. Get out of there.
God, these camels creep me out. It looks like
You don't like their hourglass shaped gordy bodies?
I don't like their like weird ripped open back look. Looks like there's a hole in their back. Freaking me out.
Crawl inside for warmth. It's on those cold desert nights. Yeah, what are you guys up to on this last evening? Unless you're just skipping on to the morning. Seems like you guys split up ways, got some information, got some plans, and now I'm assuming a reconvening?
Well, I need to know for reconvening, because if not, I have plans with Samantha later.
Sure.
Well, I need to figure out what are we doing next.
Oh yeah, we do kind of have.
We're
'Cause
going
none of us-
home.
None of us are on that boat.
Can we-
about
Going
dreams or
home.
nothing.
How much?
Good job, guys. We're going home.
I
Bye.
guess on our way back to the brothel, Persephone's just letting Samantha know that
So they could turn into snakes the entire time. They didn't when we were talking to them, but they did when Corin and I were taking them out. So I'm willing to believe that the next time we run into them, if they really want to escape, they will. And I also have a feeling they're probably going to tell the winged serpent a little more than Medusa is coming for them.
Are we just in the spa?
Just wherever you'd be. Everyone's in the hot tub.
I'll just, man, this place is
All right.
nice. Taking me a bath.
Here you go, Jordan. Here's your hot
There it
tub
is.
stream.
We all hop in the jacuzzi.
Ah, yes, the hot tub stream. Give me a sec. Let me just change our category on Twitch to
Oh,
hot
God.
tub stream.
How
Yep.
awful. I hate it.
Yeah, the pools are open. It's literally just an open swimming pool. You got dancers around who tend to you. You need someone to talk to poolside, but otherwise there is a private room for a big old tub.
Yeah, I think we should take the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two bros sitting in a hot tub.
Everyone wearing their armor. Of course, Koldor is.
Oh, Quiller's naked.
Yeah, gotta make sure. Hang on. Alright, there you go.
Tamar actually puts on armor to get into the sauna.
Yep. His hair floating everywhere.
It's an interesting day. So, I suppose our sneaky friends are all safely locked away in custody of the authorities, yes? And then, what are we doing next?
Oh, we let them go.
You let them go.
Samantha's offering some of the cultists a second chance.
Or are we like following them back? We're like sneaking behind them, following their trail. See where they go. I like it. When are they leaving? You want me to
Already
track
gone.
them?
No, they're already gone.
Oh, they're already gone.
We do know we do know the direction that they're going, though. They went south.
Oh, all right.
And we do know that their winged serpent might be targeting Darunga. And they have an orb. That's a very important detail. They have an orb.
An orb.
Hmm.
Like an orb.
An orb.
Well,
Sovereign has
looks
orbs.
like we have
Do you
I'm sorry,
know
what are these orbs?
You don't know?
bad news.
Persephone's gonna open her little amulet and then just recall the different orbs, and she's just gonna fly on over and just show Corin in her little locket. They're
Balls of darkness, but they suck anything into them. A friend of ours almost lost her arm that way. We've seen a couple of them.
Interesting. Do
You
you know
don't
how?
touch them.
We know they're connected to the Sovereign somehow.
Maybe they're like a portal.
Connected to their planes.
Not quite. The incantation called them like a hole between the planes. Not like a portal, just a hole.
A rip.
Galleon.
Mm.
Do I know of anyone that would be close to the Raven Queen or have some sort of particular grudge against her?
Roll me a religion check.
Question?
Close enough to like do something like that?
Like a person or like a figure?
Yes.
Give me a religion check. Let's see, you are considerably religious, it seems. Nothing's kind of striking a strong bell. The Raven Queen really doesn't have much any stories, any tales, or anything relating to, I don't know, other gods. Seems like all the stories seem to say the other gods sort of leave death as its own dominion. The only thing you can really probably think of, maybe just off the top of your head, is there is like maybe one tale. Some say that Sune was an enemy of the darkness, of only because she was born in the void, but there's no real sense of hostility. Another one, even Malar, considering that he was a mortal who became immortal. Sometimes stories say the tales of Malar claim that he was a mortal who escaped the clutches of death, but he's more mischievous than harmful. Hard to say there's anyone out there who really hates the Raven Queen. Unless you're just considering mortality itself, in which case anyone who seeks immortality probably doesn't like the Raven Queen.
All right. Well, so these orbs swallow everything. Speaking of which, I am hungry. But yeah, we at least know where they're going. Ish.
Samantha,
I'll just whistle as we have food come in.
Samantha, are you certain that this entity creating the orbs is working without the Raven Queen's knowledge?
So what is the plan? Do we go to Darunga to try to stop whatever he is planning? Or do we try to go south, was it?
Did you still want to go to Cradle Keep, Samantha?
There is some sort of like magic circle thing here. That's how I got here so quickly.
Samantha, can I ask for a favor? Real quick.
No, I just want to see Cody pop up like a fucking periscope.
Can I see your little friend?
Guys.
The one you keep hidden in your sleeve, as it seems.
You see Raziel just pop out of the water, sort of swimming out, wings sort of fluttering, splashing some hot water everywhere, and then sort of resting with his belly just above, floating on the surface. Been some time since I've had a proper bath. As you'd all hear this in your minds.
I'm sure that we all recognize the similarities, yes? A winged serpent. A winged serpent is Tamar just sort of doggy paddles a little bit over towards little flying serpent boy, getting a closer look, mostly looking at his wings. Do they look familiar from something he saw earlier in the day?
They certainly do. This
Tamar,
strangely flow of like opalescent, pearlescent wings. Feathers, rather. Well, these ones are a bit more wet.
I think whatever this other serpent is planning, it is well underway. As Tamar will swim back over to where he was before and sort of lean out of the water to go and grab his bags as he takes the little feather out of the small little pouch and hold it up to the party. Spoke to my brother, and it seems like these little beauties are falling all throughout the city. And even more peculiar, when my brother has created a connection with the wilds, they seem to react to it. Like we've spoken of before, where there is a tear or hole within the plains, and it is weaker, it seems like these feathers are seeking them out. Do not know what they do, but it certainly seems like this serpent, he's already acting.
You see Raziel swim up to see the with quite urgency, swimming up to the feather, much about the size of like half his body in length, although his own feathers seem to be less shiny in comparison now, directly showing them, as his eyes like seem to gleam and glimmer just at the sight of the single feather floating before him. That is mine. That is mine. Falling upon this city, reaching towards a tear, you say? These wings I held were my purpose. I was a messenger from the many-faced beast, granted wings to ascend, to slip between the planes so that I might carry my voice where it is needed. But if they are here, they linger in this city. As you sort of look around at the walls around him, see if there's any windows holes, and then you see him sort of coil up on your arm this time, Tamarkan, very close to the feather. I believe he is here. Somewhere in this city.
Mm. With you.
Didn't catch that. Too distracted by the feather. What was that? It is evidence enough that his presence has lingered here. If these are still falling, as you say, then there is a winged serpent somewhere within the vicinity, within the walls of the city, watching, waiting.
It seems like he has been here for some time. My brother spoke of how these feathers have fallen for a bit. Although I do not know if that means weeks or days or... Well, it seemed like at least longer than simply today. Without knowing who he is, without knowing his saints, what he looks like, how he speaks, without knowing the feel of the air within him, sadly no. At least not through the gifts that I was given. More mundane means find a clue. Well, I can hunt like any hunter can.
Can't just smell the feather? Do feathers have sense?
It's not quite enough to know someone, I'm afraid. I need a bit more. I will say though, with the bad comes the good. Because of where these things are reacting to the tear within this plan, because my brother was the one that set it up, I may know who lays on the other side of it. And thankfully, I do not believe her to be a foe. Unless she simply chooses to be on a weed. And maybe, as it seems she has been watching from the other side, she may know more about these spreading of feathers. Drawing her attention, though, being able to speak to her, that is a different challenge. And one that might require something you may or not feel comfortable with. Of using the key. The one that was used before. The one that we found the secret of. The one that opened the Feywild. And could do so again. At least a crack.
And what wilds would we be walking into, Tamar?
An old friend of mine. An old friend of my father's. A teacher. Serpent of the mirrored waters. A being that is ancient. Not even my father knew when she was born. She is tricksy. I doubt my father ever really came to understand her. But there is none wiser. And she is willing to teach if she wants. That is hard to say. It depends if such an offering is part of her lesson. The story tells that she came to my father, offering aid in his darkest of times, when he almost gave up on the challenge that stood before him, and allowed him to see himself what he could be, and truly started the change from him being a simple beast to what he is now. To what he paid her for it. Well, that is left out of the story. So who is to say?
But she has to go to the Feywilds to meet them.
It is where my father met her, a connection to such place. She was originally the one that led him there. I believe she is originally from such a place.
I have magic that can take us back to the Feywilds. I don't feel entirely comfortable using that key knowing what it contains.
Maybe you have a trick enough yourself to open the door then. Fascinating. Again. It is something that is a bit of a long shot, but she may know more. I originally asked my brother to try to contact her, not for all of these, but I thought Samantha, with all that has happened, all the things that have changed, maybe a wiser voice than mine or anyone else here could help you see things, well, more clearly, I suppose.
If there's a watcher in this city, and there is a connection between the plains and these feathers, it might be the chance we have to find where he's lurking. This Seth, as we learned, is Yonti. And although he's more serpent than, well, your goddess here, and her newfound compatriots, they are quite adept at slinking unseen, unnoticed, until they wish to be. It'll be difficult to root through this city in these high tides to find him. If we can have help, it may be necessary.
I would agree.
She has helped to do the impossible before. And I would love to speak to her again. It has been, God, maybe over 50 years or so. I did not take good kindly to her lessons at times.
Not a surprise.
Hmm? So we ask the king to use the thing we used before to move us to go take your people, bring them here, talk to the serpent. And
So we go to Cradle Keep, we gather your friends, and then we go meet the snake.
my brother has created a bond, a place where her attention lies. He says that she has watched the feathers fall. It is most likely that her gaze is upon this place. If we wish to find her, this is where we would be.
We can go by tree to Cradle Keep, and then we can use the teleportation circle to come back.
Wonderful.
Different magic.
Wonderful. I think we all need to be a little bit cautious of Persephone. She's getting to the point where even some of the minor Fey Lords will become jealous.
Why?
There's always tales of how they coveted the ability to change, to move between the plans. To think that a mortal could do so freely.
Well, don't forget, I've got a pretty strong connection to the Feywilds these days.
I'm simply singing your blessings. It is amazing. So, like my friend Corin said, I am also starving. Do you want to go find some food, Corin? Can we set off in the morning? What you said? Yeah? No?
I thought they brought food in. I thought Cooldor summoned sexy snake ladies to bring us food. Yeah.
Eating in the bath.
Can't eat in the bath. We get food all in it.
I get sharks.
Well then,
And the sexy snake.
other random outro too in the scene.
Well, fuck me then.
We can end with humor, and Persephone can yoink Swift Hollow into the hot springs.
Dang, you can try.
Swifty, join us!
Can you?
Rather
Oh, I
not.
don't think a 17 is gonna hit her. Just that was a bad roll.
It's above the
Awful
air.
roll.
There's nothing else you
Okay.
guys want to do?
My
The
clothing
night
is
ends with the
waterproof.
sun.
There's
Take
something
them off.
Persephone would do with Samantha. I feel like it would take a while, so I'm not sure where we wanted to end off.
What
Tonight.
time is
Yeah.
it? What time is it in game?
In game, looks like it's about probably like 9 o'clock. You guys have finally spent some time moving around the city, waiting for Democon to show up. You've had your discussion, you've eaten your meals, you're just all relaxing.
Mess with all, let's skulk off at one point.
Max and relax and all cool.
Okay, slipping off into the night.
Yep.
Just going off to go slooping around for something. What are you doing, buddy?
So Apollo's heading to the underside. Going to the Undercity, checking that place out.
Nice.
Because with
Sure.
our conversation talking about, oh, it's just snake people infiltrators. Well, I mean, might as well see how the other side of the city is doing then.
Sure. You'd slink off in the night, and you'd probably find, just as the city above is bustling with life, so too, even in these darkened hours, that the Underdark area seems to be filled with life itself. Creatures, again, these dark-skinned drow wrapped up in linens and silk seem to be moving their way through, but you would notice in these times, well, yeah, I'd say with your passively high perception, that the Yuan-Ti population down here has also increased drastically. A number of them seemingly like the creatures you'd faced on the boats, a bit more serpentile in appearance than the normal Yuan-Ti. Although they don't seem to be murdering and killing, they just seem to be snooping around. They seem to be making underhanded deals. You catch some of them trading coins for what looks to be slabs of meat or otherwise, like pieces of something. It was alive once. Something's heart. It looks reminiscently humanoid in its size. But it seems as if the Yuan-Ti population beneath the city has also become a bit more abundant. If you had any sort of insight on this, probably due to the flood of people coming in from all over the world, the untrust in the Yuan-Ti, and so probably forcing a lot of the peoples underground for a bit of a more safe commerce. But otherwise, yeah, seeing some
drow.
pretty... Yeah, hanging out with the drow. You like poison? Hell yeah. You like poison? Hell yeah.
Are you also shunned for your appearance on the
I'm
top?
also shunned. What the heck?
Shut
We're best
up,
friends
boys.
now.
Let
You
us
also
be
void of
BFFs.
emotions? No, I feel emotions all the time, actually, every day. Oh, yeah, haha, me too.
Yeah.
Yep,
Let us
totes.
be BFFs, best friends forever.
As give me a straight up perception check as you're just lingering. You're just lingering around, hanging out, see what's going on. You do
Mhm.
anything particular? Okay, give me a perception check, see what you pick up on.
Nope.
Oh, pretty nice. Yep, just sort of hanging out, just sort of lingering around in the shadowy places, letting your sharp elven ears pick up on the sounds around you, the conversations. A lot of it seems to be muffled and quiet, some of it speaking in tongues that I don't think you understand, but you would pick up on enough. It sounds as if the Yuan-Ti are quite excited, at least a handful of them. Some of them say that there's going to be some great changes, or at least reveals, coming to Roka in the next few coming days. And it'll be worth being on the surface to see it transpire. And of course, I guess noticing down here, something that you and some of the group, maybe more so, I guess Tamarkan at the time, on the surface in the darkened alleyways you guys had walked through the city, there were markings of what looked to be a winding serpent with wings stretched across its shoulders, question mark? Written on and sort of splayed on the walls. Down here, they are prevalent. They are everywhere. It seems as if the surface has been touched by his presence. The underground is rife with the presence of the winged serpent. It seems as if Raziel's right. Whether physically or not, he is here.
He's already dug his claws into it. Okay.
Dug
Good
his
stuff.
wings into.
That's what Swithhala suspected. So it just confirms her suspicions.
Nice. Look at you, Detective Swiftallow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, she makes
That's-
a mental note of it and heads back up.
What's up, Persephone?
I've decided to just go for it.
Go for
Thought
it. What's
about
up,
it.
girl?
Just go for it. So, as everyone's winding down, getting ready for bed, Persephone's going to go to Samantha's room and just knock on her door, knowing that this bitch doesn't sleep.
Hi. I hope I'm not interrupting anything or you're doing anything really important right now. Because I know you never sleep, so you can literally be doing this all night.
Persephone lets herself in.
Raziel
So-
disappears.
So about that not sleeping thing, can you sleep? I had an idea. You've been under a lot of stress, and I think you're handling it the best that you can, but I know you. You're still upset, and I want to give you a safe environment to let out all of those feelings. And no one's going to get hurt. I did it with Mordred. I want you to go to sleep. I will see you in the dream world. And in there, I want you to just let go. Everything up to this point must have been really difficult for you, and I promise you can be as angry and as destructive and however it is that you want to be. No one's going to be hurt in there. And I think you could use it. Because after tonight and going forward, Samantha, you need to have a clear head. And you haven't been given really much of a chance to clear your head.
Fine. Samantha close the book and disturb the what were going to be undisturbed sheets. Do I have to do anything?
You have to go to sleep.
Samantha just tries to get comfortable, I guess, and then just feeling your presence in the room and the absence of another, she's struggling with it, and she just turns herself into a snake, compressing herself down into a giant constrictor snake and just balling herself up into a pile and just sitting her head on the top of it, and eventually manages to go to sleep, I guess.
And I'm gonna cast Dream and meet her in Dream World.
Okay. As you usher off through the world of the waking and living and find yourself far away, I mean, it's not too far away, into the slumbering mind of a creature who has not slept in a very, very long time. As what do you find in the dream world? What's going on in Samantha's brain?
Persephone, I suppose, would see. God, it's been a long time. I don't know. You would see sort of something that looks a lot like Roca, I guess, in a strange sort of way. Sand and sort of desert-like vegetation and stuff as far as the eye can see. A very large city with white, gold, and black walls, and in the very middle of it, you would see a very, very large, just ostentatiously large, singular, black with a gold top pyramid.
Well, that looks like where I should be going.
As I approach Pyramid.
Yeah, coming up to the gold section, you would see just the ever so slight lip of a balcony, and you would see Samantha. But I guess yeah, you would see Samantha as you've seen her adventuring and the like. She's like wearing her gear and just seems to sort of be looking out over the city. And as you, I guess, join her, you can't help but notice how empty it is.
I kind of want to make a joke about how maybe you forgot how to dream, but Swift Hollow's dream looked more like a memory, so I don't really think that'd be nice to say.
Figure it a dream. You said it already, anyways. You thought it. You said it. Whoops.
Yeah. No, she says those words out loud. Not a
I
joke.
suppose
Actually
this
says
is
those words
just
to Samantha.
a memory, but I don't feel like myself, and it's really weird talking to you. That's really you, right? Like, this is magic. You did all of this with magic?
No, this is your dream. For now. Me being here is magic. What I can do, as Persephone just like waves her hand, the sun sets behind the horizon of this sandy kingdom. I can change the environment around here. I can create things, I can move things, I can change what you look like, I change what I look like. I can give you powers. I can give you magic. What I did for Mordred is I put us in the middle of a very thick forest, and I basically let him explode a bunch of trees. And also dream replications of us. He was very mad at us.
Oh, that is funnier than I thought it would be.
Well, that's what I mean. No one's going to get hurt here. So if all Mordred wanted to do was kill us, I thought, well, no better place than in your dreams. Literally. But when you wake up, you're going to remember everything here. So I think this would be a really good place for you. I don't know, Samantha, you're always so composed around us. I've seen you angry, but I've never seen you. I guess this is your grieving. I guess it's the only way you know how to grieve that makes you feel like you're still in control and that you still have some form of power. I want you to know it's okay to be sad, and I understand why you don't want people to see that side of you. But whatever happens in here, you don't have to tell anyone. It's just your dream. It's safe. And if
Give
you're
me
not
my
sure...
powers.
Powers. Okay. Snaps and gives Samantha magic.
What a fucking god.
No. Stop. You're not allowed to say shit like that anymore, Brendan. You've literally manifested it.
Give me my tank.
The reason I just
Hey,
want an
first
airship
of all,
with fucking
how
missiles
dare
on
you?
it.
Second of all,
I don't know why,
yes.
I just want it.
Give me my mech.
So
I
what do you
assume
want
I
to do
feel
first?
my magic come back to me, I guess. Or...
In a weirdly similar way, you feel it's almost like you're kind of an out-of-body experience. You can see your magic happening, you can see it manifesting at your will, but it's like
No, I'm sorry.
realizing this is a dream. This is more like sort of detachment, but it's still there.
I'm sorry.
Magic is
That was
happening.
a little boring. Let me try again. And Persephone's gonna snap her fingers, and this time, Samantha, you are going to glow with a soft green light, and you're going to levitate off the ground a little bit and feel almost like the sun warming your scales, and then you're going to be let down gently. Okay. How was that?
Very theatrical.
But do you feel like you have your magic back now?
Give me a hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin. I open creative mode and I summon Hobgoblin.
Just this massive metal armor comes clambering out of the sand, putting a sword to sort of stake himself and drag himself to his feet. You see the red skin, narrow yellow eyes of a hobgoblin. Who seems like one of the soldiers you probably faced before. Looking around and turning up to you, and then rushing towards you, Samantha.
Grab my scepter, form the bow, and just put 3 shots into his chest.
All 3 go passing straight through it, immediately sort of stumbles in a step and falls dead to the ground.
Another?
You see, like, a sort of look at, as I look at my scepter and I look at the hobgoblin just dying on the ground. Another.
Persephone nods and waves her hand. Another one whoosh, from the ground.
And in short order, as soon as it comes into being and starts charging towards her, shot through the arm, shot through the leg, shot through the head.
And then I conjure another.
3 shots straight through the chest.
And another.
One at a time is too easy. Give me more. A shot through the head, shot through the chest, shot through the leg.
Persephone starts increasing the amount, first starting with 2 at a time, and then 3.
As Samantha just lets go of the scepter and conjures up her eldritch claws and just starts reaping her way through the hobgoblins, digging into herself and finding the only emotion that she has been able to keep a hold of besides the one that she values most, and grabs a hold of her anger and lets it course through her into her magic. Give me Hell's Hydras.
I summon Hell's Hydras.
And I repeat the
Slowly pop out of the
process, just carving my way through them and make sure they stay, and just use my Eldritch Claws, conjure up the magic that enhances them to wrap myself up in that strange sort of magical armor. And I just keep asking for more and more and more and more. And as I'm cutting my way through these hobgoblins and Hell's Hydras and various humanoids, you see my face start to sort of twist. My snakes grow angry, beams coming out of them left and right as I keep demanding more of them. And you notice ever so slightly Samantha start to get a little bit larger. Give me that vampire. Give me his monster.
Conjure monster Eric Gelner.
And I just slowly but surely start to lay into him, though not expecting him to go down as quickly, starting to take a hit or two myself, as progressively I demand of Persephone more and more monsters, more and more things that I have fought and taken the power of. I demand Devora, and I rip out her heart 12 times over. I demand everything I can think of, more and more powerful entities that we have bested. The Maw, the crazy Ashenlin, the Hydra, everything. And I just
give you the house. I give you Baba
the house. I forgot about the house. And I destroy.
I give you the Gibbering Melders. I give you those ooze things that try to hurt me.
At this point, I look at Persephone, and I am relatively soaked in blood and ichor and sweating and gasping, and my mouth is contorted into this snake-like visage. And you notice that all of the serpents on my head, some of them, the ones with the colored streak, the color seems to be growing on them. Give me Obsidius.
And a large black and red scale dragon begins to fly up towards the entrance of this crown room, top of the pyramid view. As
I just leap at him, and you can see my shape just begin to change more and more as I grow in size. My arms get large and muscular, wrapped in magic. My legs fall away and turn into this massive serpentine tail as I throw myself at Obsidius and wrap myself around him and spend about a good minute and a half fighting with him, trying to take from him what I've already taken before, relishing in the violence of it, the only thing I can control, and flex my power. And it feels so good. And as I crush Obsidius, rip off his head and bring it back to the top of the pyramid, you see Samantha as you have never seen her before. Covered in blood, she looks like a ruby rather than an emerald. Her snakes are much larger on her head. 5 of them are completely a different color now, wrapped in red, wrapped in blue, green, solid, not streaks. And she throws the head across the pyramid, and her face is contorted in anger. She looks like a monster. And she slithers up to you on this serpentine tail, picks you up, and looks at you with her contorted, angry visage.
Another?
You notice, as this whole fight has been going on, more and more she's called on these things, Samantha's voice has become more and more serpentine, and for the first time, it almost sounds like towards the end she's slurring her words. Like she's just drunk on power. Can you still call me your friend? Can you still love me? And she looks at you, just blood dripping down her face, all of her snakes sort of looking at you like this imposing hydra as she just has you lifted up, sort of stuck against a wall.
Samantha. Persephone just like puts 2 hands on your blood covered cheeks.
Of course, I still love you. I did this because I love you. You're my best friend. I don't think anything can change that now. And I lean your head down, I give you a soft kiss on your forehead. And then a hug.
And you feel just Samantha just embrace you in this monstrous form.
Is this the real you?
More or less.
I like it. It's real.
You can see Samantha sort of look down at you for a moment, shocked by that statement, and seeing what she can only guess to be honesty in your face, because she can't fucking tell. She just starts to cry. Silent tears streaming down her face. Give me Luna.
I wave my hand and create Luna.
You see her just sort of look at her.
I think she would agree with me. She might say we'd have to wash off the blood because maybe red's not entirely your color, but I think she would still love you.
And she just holds open another of her much larger, almost kind of looks like, I guess, like hags, like how they have like this strange thinness to their arms that are just also really muscular for some weird reason. And holds out a clawed hand towards Luna and just sits in the sunlight in this serpentine form and just holds both of you. This is what I wanted. When I wished to the Archfey, this is what I wanted to wish for. Thank you, Persephone.
That's what friends are for.
I can't say that I've had many of those. It has been a learning experience this year. We got to meet your family. See your parents and your brother and your childhood home. But you don't know anything about me. I don't think it is possible for you to ever end up here. This is not a realm for people like you. You could not meet the closest thing I have to a father. You could not meet. I hope you never meet my sister. My family is not like yours. Five 1,000 years. And I do not know if I have ever known the love of an equal. I think my sister pretends to care because she knows I am weak to it. She knows that I will forgive her no matter how many times she betrays me. Because I just want to spend time with her. You have both shown me what it means really to trust someone, to love someone. I have heard mortals say they love each other so much, and I've always seen them plot against each other. looked the same.
We're all monsters.
Just like her. How could I trust that word? Looking your brother in the face, telling him you love him, and stabbing him in the back the next night. All for power. For avarice. My followers will not believe me when I tell them who I am. I've heard it multiple times now. But Medusa has changed. She has
That's not
changed because what she has seen is different than what she has ever known.
I think that is a good thing. I think people misunderstand the gods as unchanging beings, but if you know their stories, you'll find that a lot of it isn't true. Ayun spoke the knowledge of magic to the elves. And then she realized maybe that wasn't the best decision. So then she became silent. There are many elves that have interpreted that in a multitude of ways. Some think it means that we have to pursue knowledge, because gaining it is a gift. Some elves think it's a punishment. Some elves don't entirely know, but they still love her regardless, and respect her as the goddess of knowledge. If you feel like you are changing, that's not a bad thing. It's different. And maybe through this, the Yonti may realize they could like the new Medusa. Especially if they felt like they were forgotten in the past.
They need to change too. All of this needs to change.
Well, do you want me to start planting some flowers or something?
And she just holds you. You are a blessing. I cannot thank you enough. I feel far better emotionally.
That's good. We're gonna have a long journey ahead of us. Especially for you. You needed this. Even if you didn't know it.
Now I just need some guidance. The wisdom of this serpent Tamakon speaks of. Perhaps she can give me some answers.
Perhaps. I hope so.
Persephone's gonna give Samantha a hug and leave a form of herself in the dream as real Persephone floats out.
You thought about Tamar. There's just naked Tamars now. They're just around.
No.
Can't avoid
God,
them.
they're back.
Always in your peripheral vision. There's always just one
Rolling
dancing
out of
there.
the stage. As the dream would fade over time, long after you've fallen asleep, long after Persephone has left, but you'd have the time to yourself in this echo of a former life. Little left with something changed, it seems. As that is where we'll end tonight's session, with a dream fading, the next morning coming, and it seems to be the Valiant Vanguard making their way to the city of Cradle Keep. As both of you guys give yourselves a D100 roll.
Hell yeah.
Let's see.
Melanie, you're gonna have to tell me if you're gonna fucking throw dreams at me, dude. Like, that's fucking.
Hey, look at that.
I got 100!
Oh, god damn it!
Mel wins. Mel wins. Game over. All right, Mel, you get a plus 2 to wisdom,
I
plus 2 to con, plus 2 to int, plus.
I rolled
Samantha,
a
I know this is.
100.
I know we finished my arc, and I know this is your arc, but I'm still getting the god boon. Just saying.
Your passive perception goes up to 39.
Yeah, I take
As we
her
will
100 as well.
re-enter next session with the Valiant Vanguard using a bit of magic within the city, rather than themselves, to enter the city of Cradle Keep, seemingly pulling away from Roka, leaving it open for now. This strange presence that has now seemed to take in not only the portion of the desert, but also the city of the gods themselves. Quite ominous. But they'll be back soon to the city of Roka, to venture forth to what seems to be another world, bridged between this and the next. Is it the Feywild? Is it something else? This creature seems mercurial in nature. Where it'll take them, hard exactly to say. But perhaps they'll find not only answers as what to do and where to find this winged serpent, but also, hopefully, some guidance for the young goddess as how she should proceed. Well, to find out next week on Song of Rapture, because that's all I got for you tonight.
Yay!
I haven't felt that emotional since the fucking epilogue of The Expanse.
Hey!
Oh,
I did
shit.
that.
I feel proud.
Winning.
Yeah, good shit, Mel. I'm proud. I'm happy when you get to
Fucking-
use your Dream Druid stuff for the group. I love it.
You
Yeah.
fucking sucker punched me with that. I did not. God damn it. Yeah, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us tonight and Song of Rapture and all of its cool roleplay, I guess, and combat. And thank you, Baptize Infus, for following. I hope you didn't feel too outside the depth coming in. And good seeing you again, Sigma Echo Gamer. And thank you, Pyrus Manaverse, for hosting as always. I love you guys. And feel free to join the Discord for any updates or changes to the schedule, along with just like hanging out with us, I guess, in text chat as we like share memes and talk about the latest UA, which is freaking crazy. And yeah, just discuss video games and all that good stuff. Or you can follow me on Twitter for more updates, and then my own personal, fucking flood of mouth of things I decide to tweet. That's all we've got for you tonight. We will be back this Sunday for more Heroes of Thylia, as the Oracle's Chosen have been challenged by the Iron Envoy, the wielder of the Black Spear, and face her vengeance. And yeah, that'll be fun. So be sure to tune in this Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, to see how that goes for our wonderful chosen heroes as they continue their ascent these last final days before reaching the necropolis and the challenge of Xander within. We're going to go ahead and host somebody that my wonderful producer, Melanie, will pick out. Probably like Holy Crit or Paradise. Let's host Paradise. Host Paradise RPG for me.
Yeah, Paradise and Love.
Indeed. As that's all we've got for you. Until next time, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Later, y'all.
Oodles.
Bye.
Get your shots.
Get him in your face. Get him in your arms.
fast turnaround, and it looks amazing. And hopefully, Alex will remember to put it in the slides for Monday night's show. Those are our partners. Oh, we just got a raid from Lionhead Gaming. You beat me to it, Lion, because I was gonna raid you. Hey there, Jelly Melly. Hey, Lion. We were literally just about. I was literally just about to raid y'all. We just spent some time painting a fun mini that is really blurry right now on my camera for some reason. Oops, took a picture of it. We're painting this big ass worm to, kill another one of Shannon's characters, probably. Maybe not. Maybe kill someone else's character. But thanks for the raid. We love you so much. We're just gonna real quickly talk about our upcoming programming before Shannon gives me someone to send our love over to. Okay. All right. So tonight has been Relaxing in Paradise. Join me again in the future for more Relaxing in Paradise, where we paint minis, draw maps, talk lore, and have a good time generally. Relax, get away from things, Next programming on the docket is the Sean and Shannon Power Hour this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we recap the lovely, lovely Advantage in Paradise from the previous week. And then Monday night, of course, we've got our flagship show, Advantage in Paradise, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. It's a great time. Next week, we're going to be jumping in the middle of combat. Because we went way too late last time. I had to stop in the middle of combat right as a big baddie showed up. So it should be an exciting episode.